that you're all doing very well tonight. And as per usual, we'll be waiting about 8 or 9 minutes to allow people to trickle in, and then we'll begin the evening practice. Hi, David. How's the David? David,
Hey,
at work. How could you? It's 10
hey,
p.m.
Greg, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm well. How are you?
Exhausted. But okay, I'm alive. I'm here.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We're now. We're together. For those of you who are just joining in now, we're going to give it 6 or 7 minutes before we get started with the guided practice. In the meantime, feel free to lightly meditate, or you can ask any questions or share any experiences if you like. Yeah, I really like this one. This one and the next one I particularly like. Victor. Oh, it's alright, Andrea. Oh, we all have days like that, right? Yeah, man. I have been doing well. I went dancing last night. It was a lot of fun. I went to bed at 5 a.m. and then I went to work a few hours later. Hi, Alkin. Alikin? Let me know how to pronounce your name properly. How are you doing? We're going to be beginning the group guided meditation in about 5 minutes. Ali. Hi, Ali. Good. I'm glad you're doing well. Are you going to stick around and practice meditation with us? Hi, Disease. Hello, hello. Salutations. Nice. Heckin' yeah. Glad to hear it. Does anyone have any experiences they'd like to share from yesterday or today? Any questions you'd like to ask? We'll get started in about 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. For those of you who are unaware, this guided practice and I are representing an initiative called Project Mindfulness. Project Mindfulness's goal is to make meditation and mindfulness more accessible. And to that end, we're working to deliver a lot of different resources around meditation and mindfulness, and also building a community that is very accepting, and also working to strip the core of the message, strip away dogmatic language and structure. For those of you, and I know certainly for myself, who have experienced the benefits of meditation and mindfulness, really it's something I see very often, that as soon as you start to experience the benefits of meditation and mindfulness, you want to share it with other people, because it's so remarkable. It's so remarkable the changes that it can have. Meditation and mindfulness provide a framework and a medium through which we can grow in a way that many other tools simply do not. You might have a problem with anger, and someone may tell you, well, in order to deal with your anger, you must count to 10 when you feel angry. Well, this may help you distract yourself from your anger, but are you really addressing the root of the problem? Are you really addressing what's at the root of your anger? Now, it's not to say that meditation and mindfulness are the only ways to deal with the root of our obstacles and challenges. The tools themselves are so effective that many traditions will call it magic or even the grace of God. That's how effective these tools of meditation and mindfulness are. Of course, in the end, it's up to us whether we use these tools. And like most things, it takes some practice. It takes some persistence. It takes some continuity. Begin with the practice. If you haven't already, take a moment now and position your body in a comfortable meditative posture, ideally with the spine, neck, and head aligned. However, if you're unable to sit with proper posture, with at least a decent amount of comfort, then don't force yourself at this moment and just sit in a way that strikes a balance between proper posture and comfort. You can even recline or lay down, but keep in mind that a reclined or prone position will lend to the tendency to fall asleep. For tonight's guided practice, we'll begin with awareness of the body and transition into examining impermanence in the bodily sensations. Take a moment now. The eyes are gently closed. Come into contact with your body. Come into contact with your body. It's moving at least a little bit with the breath. There are feelings all over the body, feelings and sensations all over the body. What are you feeling? What are you feeling in and around the body? What kind of sensations are you feeling? Bring your attention to your hands. Bring your attention to your hands. What kind of sensations, what kind of feelings, what are you experiencing in your hands? You're paying attention to both of the hands simultaneously. What are you feeling? How about if we narrow our attention? We narrow the scope of our attention down to the left index finger. What kind of sensations, physical sensations, do you feel on the left index finger? It could be anything. We're not looking for anything special. We're just experiencing what is already there. How about the right index finger? Just bring your attention to the right index finger. If the mind wanders, that's okay. Just return. Return to paying attention to the sensations in the right index finger. Bring your attention to your head, the entire head. What kind of sensations do you feel there? We are just choicelessly observing these sensations. We're not passing a judgment on them. Oh, these are good sensations. Oh, these are bad sensations. The mind may react. You may notice thoughts and feelings that reflect enjoyment or the lack of enjoyment of these sensations. As soon as you notice yourself distracted from simply observing these sensations in and around the head, then simply return. Simply return. Just observe. Let's try narrowing the scope of our attention down to just the forehead. And now I want you to take some time. It's as if we are detectives, and a good detective examines the crime scene without disturbing anything. Similarly, let us examine our foreheads with our awareness, investigating all of the sensations and feelings that we find there. See if you can notice that the sensations are changing, that the sensations are in a constant flux and flow. Just in the forehead, you can try narrowing your attention to the width of a needle point, or you can broaden it and fill the entire forehead at the same time. Experiment with different ways of applying your attention and investigating the sensations, investigating the changing sensations on the forehead. Looking for anything special. We're just experiencing the sensations as they are and seeing if we can notice how they are changing. They're changing. One moment it's pressure, one moment it's tingles, one moment it's heat, one moment it's cold, one moment it itches, one moment it feels good, one moment it feels bad. Sensations arising and passing away, arising and passing away. Bring your attention to your chest, and similarly to the forehead. Let your attention explore in and around the chest, experiencing what it is to be experienced. Whatever sensations there are, whatever feelings there are, simply watch, simply notice. Notice how they change. Let your awareness flow like water throughout your chest. Or you can observe the chest chunk by chunk, part by part. Or you can experiment with feeling the entire chest inside and out simultaneously. But whatever you decide to do, I invite you to try them all and more. How about the bottoms of the feet? The bottoms of the feet. Firstly, are the sensations on the bottoms of the feet different from the sensations in and around the chest? Secondly, let your attention rest in the bottoms of the feet, feeling the sensations there are, allowing them to come, allowing them to go, and noticing them in their constant flux and flow. Take the opportunity now, on your next inhalation, let your attention travel upwards through the body until it reaches the top of the head, and experience different sensations as you go. Experience the sensations of the body as you allow your attention to rise to the top of the head with the inhalation. And on the next exhalation, allow the attention to go down, 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 cascading like a waterfall all throughout the body down to the bottoms of the feet, feeling the sensations as you go, noticing the impermanence, noticing how the sensations are changing. Back at the bottoms of the feet. Are the sensations in the bottom of the feet the same that they were just a few moments ago, or have they changed? And again, continue with this breathing practice. As you inhale, the attention rises through the body, and you experience the physical sensations inside and out as the attention rises up to the top of the head. And as you exhale, the attention comes down, down, down through the body to the bottom of the feet. And above all, as your attention goes up and down the body, keep on noticing the sensations and noticing how the sensations change. At your own pace, and only if you want to, you can gently release the practice, you can relax the body, you can open the eyes. But I invite you to make the effort to stay in touch with the bodily sensations, to stay in touch with their impermanence. Keep on noticing the sensations in the body. Notice how sensations arise in response to stimulus. For each moment you hear my voice, there is certainly a corresponding sensation, corresponding set of sensations. When my voice is quiet again, those sensations pass. They change, they morph. All of the feelings in our body are in flux, are in flow. If you like now, you can take this time to share any experiences you had. Ask any questions you'd like to ask. And generally just share. You can do so in Twitch chat or in the group meditation Discord channel. And for those of you who don't know, this is Project Mindfulness, and this is a guided practice that we share every single evening at 10 p.m. EST. Oftentimes a different technique every single evening. Sometimes a continuation of an earlier practice, sometimes something altogether new. Dizzy's is bed ready. Excellent. Good night, Dizzy's. I hope you sleep well. I'll speak to you again soon. So what did you all think? Tell me. Were you able to feel the sensations in your body? What kind of sensations did you experience? Were you able to notice how the sensations are changing? Tell me what you noticed. Time went like jet. It did indeed. It really, really did. The practice passed so very quickly, as it usually does when you're having lots of fun. Ali says, yep, sometimes it was warm, sometimes like electricity. Wonderful. Ali, were you able to notice how the sensations in the body are constantly changing? Were you able to observe that? And come now, for those rest of us who are here, practiced tonight. Don't be shy. What kind of sensations did you notice? Were you able to observe the impermanence? This practice begins by helping us get in touch with the sensations of the body. It follows by making the priority of our observation not the sensations themselves, but actually the nature of the sensations. What is the nature of the sensations? The nature of the sensations is to arise and then to pass away. This is the nature of the bodily sensations. Whatever we experience sensationally arises and then passes away. Hello, friendly pigeon. I like pigeons very much. They're very cute. And they make nice noises. They're like underappreciated doves. Misunderstood doves, you know? So really, the goal of this practice is once you're comfortable with observing sensations, is then to redirect your attention and focus more on examining the nature of them. And the nature of them is impermanence. The nature of them is impermanence. So looking closely at the sensation's impermanence. And what we'll discover by examining the impermanence of sensations is we'll start to create space in the mind's reactive process. Because normally the mind, it feels something and then reacts to it. How does it react? It says, I like this or I don't like this. I like this or I don't like this. That is how the mind reacts. And it's doing that all day long, all night long, consciously and subconsciously. It's not very fun. One minute we're happy, the next minute we're sad. 1 minute we're happy, the next minute we're sad. 1 minute we're happy, the next minute we're sad. And we're honestly constantly on this roller coaster of emotions and feelings. And oh, we're along for the ride. And oh my God, I'm so terribly sad and disappointed in myself. And the next moment I'm so happy and ecstatic and joyful. And the next moment, oh, it hurts and woe is me. Oh, I should throw myself off a cliff, and the next moment, oh, I'm so happy, life is so beautiful, I'm so happy. But if we can take the time to really examine the impermanence of these experiences, to see at a very minute level how that all feelings are made up of many smaller sensations that are arising and passing away. And it's actually just the mind that's labeling these sensations as good or bad. We can create space. We can create space. What do I mean by creating space? I mean that when these happy feelings come, or when these sad feelings come, you're able to experience them very deeply, but you also have this persistent knowledge, this persistent wisdom, that this too shall pass, that this too shall pass. And when you know, when you truly know, not just intellectually, that this too shall pass, then what will disturb you? Tell me what will disturb you. Just like when we were little children and we would hurt ourselves. One example I like to use is like stubbing your toe. Thanks so much for the bit, and thanks so much for the follow, Japdos the 7th. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't followed already, we would really appreciate the support. It really helps us meditate with more people. We have these guided meditations every single evening at 10 p.m. And yeah, if you want to show your support by following, we're incredibly thankful, like Japdos the 7th did. Another 100 bits. Thank you, Japdos. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, the stuffed unicorn. Thank you. So, when we were children and we stubbed our toe, and we're like, oh my fucking God, it hurts, my fucking toe, it hurts like fucking hell. And we're screaming and we're crying and we're so involved. And when we're little, we haven't learned yet that stubbing your toe is not that big of a deal. It hurts a lot, but it passes. And we know. And after we do it hundreds of times, we realize that we know when we stub our toe that, yeah, it hurts like shit, it's agonizing, but it will certainly pass. Thank you so much for the bits, Bipolar Live. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And so now, when you stub your toe, for the most part, it's like, yeah, it hurts, but you know it. You know it's going to pass. So it's okay. You're fine with it. You're experiencing the pain, but you can experience it with a smile because you know it's going to pass. You know it's going to pass. And similarly, when we can cultivate that degree of wisdom with our own emotional landscape, then when we encounter really challenging emotional experiences, we'll still feel them. It's not like we're dehumanizing ourselves. Still going to experience them, but we experience them with this great, great, great perspective. We know deeply that it's going to pass, and we can weather it with a smile. We can remain undisturbed by those emotions, even though we're still experiencing them. Let's see here. Thank you so much for the follow, Bipolar Live. I do not wear glasses for fun. Epic Wood Elf, the 11th. Epic Wood Elf, the 11th. I do have very poor vision without my glasses. Japdos, thanks again for the bits. Bipolar Live, thanks again for the bits. And would appreciate avoiding any type of trolley discussion in the chat. Would really love that. But otherwise, thanks so much for joining, guys. We finished the guided meditation for the evening, and now we're just having discussion about meditation and mindfulness. If you have any questions or topics that you'd like to discuss, feel free to share. And we have guided meditations every single evening at 10 p.m. EST. We have a Discord community of around 3,000 members, a free course on our website, among many other things. And if you'd like to offer your support, just shoot us a follow. Andrea, let's see. Possum Pal says, I like this practice because it reminds me I'm living in a physical world. I often get lost inside my mind. Absolutely. I completely understand that, Possum Pal. Practicing with our bodily sensations can definitely be very grounding. And to that end, did you take my advice in mind? Are you still present with the physical sensations? Are you still noticing how they're arising and passing away while we're in this practice? I am not high. Epic Wood Elf the 11th. Would appreciate you not using that type of language. If you do it again, I'll have to kick you. Andrea said, electricity is a good word to use. The best way to say it due to the change shift of pain in my hands recently has been awfully distracting all day. Made me tired mostly, and with it being hot here, we have air conditioners in and running, so I'm mostly cold. Thank you for sharing, Andrea. Yeah, so it really is a very transformative practice if we can really make the commitment to ourselves to stay present with the impermanence of things. Let me tell you right now, I feel vibration all throughout my entire body, inside and outside. Vibration. It's all vibrating. It's coming and it's going very rapidly. It's a very dispersed sense of vibration. I still feel other feelings, grosser aspects, like my feet are a little cold right now, and my stomach is a little achy, my face is a little tired. But subtler than those, beneath, underneath, vibration. All of it is vibration. And you will begin to notice this too, should you persistently and continuously examine the sensations of the body. You'll notice the impermanence of them. You notice how even big knots of sensation where it feels like one big feeling, like a block of pain or whatever, is actually made up of many smaller sensations all tingling and moving and fluxing and flowing. Just have to take the time. Give yourself the time to be present and to investigate. These practices of meditation and mindfulness, believe it or not, can be practiced mindlessly. You can practice awareness of body in a way that is not really present. You can just go up and down the body feeling things, but you're not really investigating, you're not really fully present, you're just sort of half-assing it. So make that commitment to yourself to learn how to recognize what it feels like when you're really present and what it feels like when you're not. And when you notice that you're not, to come back to being present. Let's see here. Possum Pal says, I have to keep reminding myself of being present with the body. I'm so disconnected sometimes that I can barely believe I have a skeleton and several systems working inside me. Totally. Yeah, and I can definitely identify with feelings of not being grounded. I mean, I think we've all experienced being like space cadets and totally somewhere else, daydreaming, or even if we're not distracted, just not in touch with our bodies. And I think it's important for all of us to discover what a good balance is according to our own individual self. But a good balance is healthy. And finding the time to pay attention to the body and be grounded within the body is important. It's important. And to that end, I would invite you, specifically, if you're looking to ground in the body and also sort of have an easy path to experiencing sensations, try the bottoms of the feet or the hands. Bottoms of the feet or the hands. Because we walk and touch things quite a bit, our hands and our feet are sensitized, and it is often a lot easier for us to bring our attention to our extremities and then to begin feeling sensations. And once we begin feeling sensations and experiencing them and getting in touch with them, we can then examine the nature of those sensations, which is to arise and pass away. I do too, Candace. I do too. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask or any topics they'd like to discuss? Let's see, maybe I'll throw on some music. Please feel free. Any topics regarding meditation and mindfulness that you're curious about, please feel free. Gobinde mukande udare apare hari om. No, that's too much for this. Too much noise. Let's see. Yeah, So for those of you who are just joining, we finished the evening's meditation practice, and now we're just having a bit of a discussion, a bit of a chat, answering any questions you might have, any curiosity you might want to satisfy. Something important to remember is that meditation and mindfulness practices, they are tools. They're not an ends in and of themselves, an end in and of themselves. And they have to be practiced with presence. They have to be practiced with presence. If you want to make a change in your life, you have to apply effort. And there has to be continuity to that effort. But no effort is wasted. So even if it takes little tiny baby steps, bit by bit, and that's wonderful. Any questions? Anything you'd like to share? Are you still present with the bodily sensations and the nature of those sensations? Hi Jason, how are you doing this evening? We've completed our guided meditation for the evening, and now we're just chatting about meditation and mindfulness, mental health, growing, etc. And also asking any questions, sharing any experiences you've had that you want to share. Just having a little chat. And if you were present for the evening meditation tonight, then we're still meditating. You haven't let go of your awareness of the sensations. I'm well, Jason. I'm also pretty tired. I only got about 3 hours of sleep. But that's okay. I feel very good. Jason, have you ever meditated before? Tell me about that. What do you mean by it's not really your thing? What kind of meditation did you do? What'd you experience? Let me hear more. If you're open to sharing. And while you do that, let's take a look here. Maybe that song. And let's talk a little bit about the parable of the poisoned arrow. Do you know the parable of the poisoned arrow? Is anyone familiar with it? Oh, this music is just a little bit too involved for me. Let's do something a little bit less. Just a little bit less. Jason Smith says, just mainly being calm and trying to clear my mind, and also that app thingy, probably Headspace or something. Yeah. Well, Jason, I would really invite you, if you're curious, try coming to one of our guided meditations. The thing about meditation and mindfulness is that they're really meant as holistic tools to help us grow. And I've been meditating for quite a long time, and I've led retreats. I've spoken to thousands of people about meditation. I think that there's something there for everyone. And I think often what happens is that we practice something and it's a little difficult or a little confusing or just doesn't really feel helpful, and then we put it down right away. But a lot of the time, things like this take a little bit more exploration to see if they really have benefit. Like tonight, we focused on the bodily sensations, and we investigated how the sensations in the body are constantly arising and passing away. Let's see here. Yeah, I hear you, Jason. For sure, man. Well, we have these guided meditations every single night at 10 p.m. EST. So, yeah, if you have any questions or want to share anything, feel free to. So, the parable of the poisoned arrow is a Buddhist parable. And it's about how this guy got hit with a poisoned arrow and he's gonna die. He's gonna die. And he goes to get medical care. And the doctors are like, well, you know, we've got to... Thank you so much for the follow, Jason Smith. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Seriously. Every bit of support goes a long way. So yeah, the doctors are like, yo, dude, we gotta remove this arrow or you're gonna die. And the guy's like, no, fuck you. I'm not removing this arrow and you're not removing this arrow until I know exactly who shot the arrow. I want to know where the bow the arrow was shot with was crafted. I want to know who fletched that arrow. I want to know who made the poison. I want to know what his motives were. I want every single little bit of reasoning as to why that arrow was shot. And only then will I agree to remove this arrow. And he's in agony. He's in agony. He's in so much pain. He's gonna die soon. And he's stubborn. No, I'm not having this arrow removed until I know all of these things. And so what is the parable of the poison arrow trying to illustrate? I've certainly been in situations in my life when I was suffering quite a bit. But I wanted to understand the suffering. I wanted to intellectually pick it apart. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to ruminate over it. I did everything I could to dance around actually solving the root of my suffering. I didn't want to pull the arrow out. I wanted to know exactly where that suffering had come from and why it happened and what's the meaning of life if I'm suffering, and all of these existential crises going along with the pain, and just like working myself into a froth about my own mental pain, my own challenges. Did everything I could not to actually work with my anxiety, my depression. There comes a point when we've made that first step to realize that we're suffering, because that is a first step that must be taken. When you realize, okay, there's a problem here. I'm really unhappy. I'm suffering. There's a lot of suffering in my life. Or a little bit, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't need to be qualified. There's suffering. And you're like, oh yeah, there's suffering. Well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to do something about it? Are you going to do something? Or are you just going to dance around it? And this may be a hard pill to swallow, or maybe it's a very wonderful pill to swallow. It depends. Depends on what kind of perspective you're taking. But the only way through these painful experiences, this suffering, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. You can't bypass this stuff. You can't bypass this stuff. That's why I see a lot of sort of misunderstood perspectives about meditation and mindfulness. I mean, I certainly thought this at one point in my life. I thought that when I sat down to meditate or be mindful that I had to feel pleasure or good about things or peaceful or calm. I thought that was the point of meditation, right? So if I sit down and meditate and be mindful and I'm not feeling peaceful or calm or like in orgasmic ecstasy, then fuck, I'm doing something wrong. I must be doing something wrong, right? Well, actually, that's not the purpose of meditation and mindfulness. That's not the purpose. Well, what is the purpose? The purpose is to begin to see things as they are. To see things as they are with your own powers of observation. And when you begin to see things as they are, you begin to gain more clarity. You begin to gain more clarity. What kind of clarity do you gain? You gain clarity as to the nature of the things that we experience. Well, what is the nature of the things we experience? Well, things come and things go. Things come and things go. Everything comes and then everything goes. All in a flow. You know? No problem, Possum Pal. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to do. What's up? Another TTV viewer. Cycle Motion, GDDR5. Jupiter Girl, how are you? Reflector. Apple Bad Apple, what the fuck is up? Andrea says, holy shit, get the fuck out of my head. As you wish. I apologize. I will remove myself immediately. Does anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to share? Also, how's the volume of the music and the mic? Is it alright? Hard for me to tell. Aw, I love all of you too. Meta and Uni for a dance party. Well, I love dancing. I love dance parties. And I love dressing up like an absolute nut when I go to dance parties. So that could be arranged. That absolutely could be arranged. It's the absolute madman. He has come back to join us. Or she. Or they. Or maybe some creature of some sort. Otherworldly being. Never know. Good night, Jason. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the follow. I hope to see you again sometime. Really do. Definitely stop back in sometime. The meditation always starts at 10 p.m. EST, so see if you can catch it. Good night. Oh, Ali is the absolute madman. Nice. So, for those of you who are just joining us, the guided meditation for the evening is done. And now we're just discussing meditation and mindfulness and mental health and life. And if you have any questions, anything you'd like to share, please do so. There's an open space here for that. Communication is so valuable. We don't need to have a stigma around it. Hey boy, hey. Yo, yo, yo. I'm going to a dance party on Sunday that's all about body painting, so probably paint my body before I go and have a blast. Nice little dancey dance. Honestly, what better opportunity than to observe the flux and flow of sensations than when you're dancing? I mean, life is crazy, guys. Life is crazy. It's all good. It's all good, though. It's hard sometimes. It's great sometimes. It comes and goes. One of the concepts that really changed my life was the fact that you don't know when you're gonna die. We don't know when we're gonna die. We also don't know how we're gonna die. So, knowing that the passing of my own life is inevitable, how then should I lead my life? What kind of person do I want to be? What do I want to use my time for? That type of contemplation may or may not be helpful for you. But I think it's an interesting thing to play around with. It personally has served as great enthusiasm to me to not let certain things get dropped. For example, I don't go to bed angry at anyone anymore. I dropped it like a hot potato. I drop it like a hot potato. Because that's what the identification with anger is. When you're all gripped and tight, it's like you've got your fist wrapped around the handle of a hot pan. You know? What if I died while I was sleeping? And I was angry at my partner or a loved one, and I went to bed angry with them, and then I died. I don't want that in my life. All of these processes of thinking are all methodologies of helping our own perspective towards ourselves shift. You know, some years ago, after I had been meditating for a good long time, this idea was introduced to me, and the idea was that meditation is nothing but a trick. It's nothing but a trick. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And they were like, meditation is just a trick in order to trick the mind into letting go. To trick the mind into letting go. Whatever you call it, a trick, a tool, a gift from God, whatever you want to call it. It's truly useful. It's truly helpful. But only if you make the commitment to use the tools. You know, that whole overused give a man a fish or teach a man to fish or whatever. The same thing here. There's a quote I really like. Let's see if I can find it here. Really, really like it. Let's see. Eugene Debs said, "I would not be a Moses to lead you into the promised land, because if I could lead you into it, someone else could lead you out." Ponder that for a second. I'll even pause the music. I would not be a Moses to lead you into the promised land, because if I could lead you into it, someone else could lead you out. Whew. That's some intense shit right there. No one can give you the gift of growth. No one can do the growing for you. No one can do the development for you. It all has to come from within yourself. And this growth and this development is like a seed that we plant and then nurture. And at first it's just a little seed. And if we stop, the seed is easily uprooted, or it doesn't get watered and it never cracks open. The seed goes away. And then we're like, oh shit, I gotta do my practice. I have to focus back in, develop good habits, and we put the seed back in. And then if we really water the seed, we're diligent about watering the seed. And really the wonderful thing about this is that the seed will grow. The seed will grow. That is the nature of seeds, to grow. We just have to water it and make sure it doesn't get eaten or uprooted, right? So we're diligent, and we water the seed. Seed cracks open and it grows, and then it's a tiny little plant. It's a tiny little plant. Well, now we have to protect it from being eaten by the things that eat tiny defenseless plants, right? And stick with me here. This is still an analogy for our spiritual and personal development. When we're, and I'll backtrack a little, when we're making these first steps into growth and making a change for ourselves, we're working against the force of a lot of habits that we've had in the past and working to build new habits. And it takes a fair amount of effort and persistence. And the things that are going to eat our defenseless little plant, well, it's our environment. Our environment is not necessarily conducive to this development and personal growth. Maybe we have family and friends that they're not very conducive to this growth. Maybe you're in a situation that's toxic, not very positive, friendly, open place. Well, you have to protect. You have to protect. You have to protect your growth. And not only that, but stay diligent and water it and water it. And again, the really special thing about this is that so long as you take care of it and so long as you water, it will grow on its own. And soon enough, before you know it, its roots have gone down deep and it's as tall as a redwood, and it's totally unshakable. Totally unshakable. Nothing anyone could possibly do or say, and no situation in life could even remotely, ever, even a little bit, possibly change that growth. Totally immovable. Totally immovable. And trees of that size, when they get to be big enough, they grow on their own. They don't need anyone to tend to it. And similarly, with this type of personal growth and development, should we apply our practice, apply ourselves for long enough, we create a type of momentum. We create a type of momentum that is unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. And that's not to say that there's not always work to be done. There certainly is. But it is meant as an encouragement. Be diligent in your practice. And understand that even if it's challenging at first or throughout, the benefits are unspeakably massive. Let's see here, some messages that I missed. Let's see and read the sutta that Andrea posted. Sort of long. Give me a second. Skim this. Maybe I remember it. Maybe I don't. Squirrel's feeding ground. Godika. Oh, nice. Temporary freedom of the heart. Oh, he's like, fuck that. Only temporarily experiencing freedom of the heart. I better kill myself. Hi. Yeah, so suttas like this. Suttas like this should be perceived as a metaphor. Should be perceived as metaphor. It has no other use than to be perceived as metaphor. It's meant to represent what he speaks about here. Having plucked out craving, root and all, Godika is extinguished. Having plucked out craving, root and all, Godika is extinguished. Craving for what? Craving for being, and craving for non-being. And Mara is a representation of temptation and sort of the downward forces of the mind. I'm going to stop the Twitch stream. I love you all. Good night. I'll stick around in Discord though.